When an economy breaks, most people imagine demand disappearing everywhere at once. Shops empty. Jobs vanish. Spending dies. But that is not what history shows. Demand does not disappear. It concentrates. It moves away from convenience, status, and expansion, and rushes toward survival, repair, adaptation, and emotional relief. Buenos Aires, December 2001 made that visible in one city block: a bank with smashed windows, a shuttered department store, and between them a mechanic's garage with a line of cars stretching to the corner. Across depressions, defaults, hyperinflations, and banking panics, the same 5 business types keep ending up on the winning side of the wreckage. The first one grows for a reason so basic most people miss it. The first is repair. Mechanics, plumbers, electricians, appliance technicians, welders, tool rebuilders, anyone who can keep old things working when replacement becomes unaffordable. Argentina after the 2001 default. Cuba during the special period. Post-Soviet economies when imported goods disappeared from shelves. Same pattern every time. In good times, people replace. In hard times, they preserve. A broken refrigerator that would have been thrown out in a boom becomes a repair order in a collapse. A car that would have been traded in becomes a long-term asset that must survive 5 more years. The person who can extend the life of a machine becomes part of the economy's emergency infrastructure. Repair doesn't survive despite collapse. It expands because of collapse. The second business wins from the same pressure, but through price instead of skill. The second is low-cost food and household essentials. Not luxury grocery chains. Not premium lifestyle brands. The businesses that win are the ones that can move calories, soap, diapers, cooking oil, medicine, and basic necessities at the lowest usable price. During severe contractions, budgets don't vanish. They compress. Families cut restaurants, electronics, travel, upgrades, and branded convenience first. But they still need rice, flour, detergent, batteries, and painkillers. In crisis after crisis, neighborhood staple sellers, wholesalers, open-air markets, and value retailers become more important, not less, because the whole economy reorganizes around survival math. When households stop asking, "What do I want?" and start asking, "What can I still afford?" low-cost essentials become the center of commerce. The third business thrives because collapse turns used goods into the real retail sector. The third is second-hand trade. Pawn shops. Used clothing. Used tools. Spare parts. Recycled building materials. Refurbished appliances. Informal resale markets of every kind. When incomes fall and credit tightens, the used market stops being secondary. It becomes primary. That happened during the Great Depression. It happened in post-war scarcity. It happened in Argentina's informal markets and across modern emerging market crises where the formal retail sector could no longer serve the public at acceptable prices. The deeper reason is simple. Second-hand businesses sit exactly where a collapse pushes people, between constrained cash and continuing need. They translate scarcity into affordability. Business 4 doesn't just sell a product, it replaces a failed institution. The fourth is money translation. Currency exchanges. Remittance operators. Pawn finance. Check cashing. Micro-lending. Informal brokers. Anyone who helps people move between broken money and daily life. In Argentina, Lebanon, Zimbabwe, and Venezuela, the people who could convert, split, transfer, price, or bridge unstable currency became critical infrastructure. Because when banks freeze, the need for financial services does not freeze with them. Sometimes these businesses are ugly. Sometimes exploitative. Sometimes indispensable. Usually some combination of all three. But the pattern is constant. Collapse increases the value of anyone who can help ordinary people translate the money they're paid in into the value they actually need to access. Fifth, business looks irrational until you understand what crisis does to the human nervous system. The fifth is affordable escape. During the Great Depression, weekly American movie attendance reached roughly 60 to 80 million. In the middle of unemployment, foreclosures, and bank failures, people still paid for 2 hours in a darkroom where reality loosened its grip. Weimar Berlin's cabarets and dance halls filled during hyperinflation. During recessions, small luxuries often rise while bigger discretionary purchases collapse. Leonard Lauder's famous lipstick index came from noticing exactly this behavior. This is not irrational. It's human. People in crisis will postpone a car. They'll postpone furniture. They'll postpone vacations. But many will still pay for one affordable hour of relief, dignity, distraction, or pleasure. A business that sells temporary emotional oxygen can survive conditions that kill businesses selling status. Now put all five together, because that's where the real pattern appears. Now notice what ties all five together. They do not depend on optimism. They do not require abundant credit, strong consumer confidence, or long planning horizons. They live close to immediate human needs. Keep things working. Feed people cheaply. Make goods affordable again. Translate money into usable value. Give people a tolerable hour inside an intolerable season. That is why they recur across very different collapses. Not because collapse is good for business. It isn't. It is catastrophic. But catastrophe reveals which businesses were built on convenience and which were built on necessity. Necessity does not disappear in hard times. It becomes the whole economy. And that leads to the one lesson most people get backwards. The lesson is not prediction. It is position. Every business on this list usually existed before the crisis it thrived in. The mechanic was already fixing. The reseller was already trading. The money broker was already bridging. The discount grocer was already operating. The theater was already open. They didn't need to predict collapse. They needed to be standing where demand would be forced to go when everything ornamental broke. The real question in a crisis is not, what do people want? It's, what can they not avoid needing, even now? If you want more economic autopsies built from evidence instead of mythology, subscribe.